Let's jump down to trending news. 2K Games has officially announced Bioshock 4. The game won't be released for several more years, but it has been in production since early 2015. It's being worked on by a brand new studio called Cloud Chamber. The team is working in 2 locations, San Francisco Bay Area and Montreal. The studio is headed by Kelly Gilmore, who has worked in the industry for 22 years, the majority of which were spent working on, Adam, you'll like this a lot, the Civilization franchise. And here's a quote from Kelly Gilmore just on, I think, the expectations, just what they're trying to do in development for this new title. We can't get into our development plans just yet, but we can agree that the narrative in any Bioshock game is a popular and much discussed topic for fans and critics alike. Our team is very focused on this aspect and well poised to deliver another powerful story. Making the next Bioshock game is a responsibility that does not fall lightly on any of us. What's great is that there are many directions we can consider. Listening to everyone's thoughts, including those of our fans, will continue to be important as we shape our vision for the game. I guess just my 2 cents just before I pass it off. I just want to say I love this franchise. I'm really excited that a 4th one is coming out. It seems like they're respecting the core values of the game and the narrative being the main thing. But I mean, obviously we'll see. There's no details yet, but I'm just very optimistic.
Well, I mean, if you can look at like Kelly Gilmore, I'm not sure her actual track, her contributions to like, I don't even know how you say for access or whatever, the company that made the Civilization games. I mean, that is a high quality product over, its last 5 iterations have been absolutely breathtaking. Like those are great games and the great production value. And if she carries over that same level of like professionalism to franchises beloved as Bioshock, I think there can only be a good outcome.
I think as long as she wasn't the team lead on Beyond Earth, I think everything's gonna be just fine.
Well, she was sleeping during that.
Yeah, she had like a 2-year coma.
She was the brainchild of it.
Yeah, right. Let's go to space.
I'm interested to see like where they go with this, because like Infinite ended with like this idea that like there's like all these different realities and like no matter what he did, he couldn't change anything. It was just kind of like, right? Am I wrong there? Am I not remembering it correctly?
I believe you're correct, Josh.
So like, where do you go with that? Like, how do you take that to, is it just another story that ends in this like open-ended, well, this is just what happened in this reality type of thing? And then on the other hand, like, okay, so we were in Rapture in the first 2, and like, I disliked Infinite because I was just so like captive. We've talked about this many times on here already. Like captivated by Rapture. And then like even when I went back to Rapture in Infinite with the DLC, it was just kind of like
it wasn't the same Rapture though.
I was here twice already. Like, so where do you go?
It didn't feel the same anyway. It just it wasn't the same vibe, I didn't think.
To me, I think Bioshock, it's cool that, they want to, continue and make more, but like, to me, like, there's some franchises that just don't need it anymore. Like, it's good the way it is. Like, I feel like you're just kind of like watering it down, like, cause
I hate to say it. I kind of agree with you here. I don't want to because I want a Bioshock 4, but like I think that you're right. I think that the way they ended with the multi-dimensional theory, it's really hard to build a game around that now. I think anytime like especially a story-driven game or movie goes into like a time jump or a multi-dimensional thing like they did in The Last Avengers. I did not like The Last Avengers. People are probably going to hate me for this. I thought it stunk. I didn't even finish it. Like the last 20 minutes, I turned it off. It was a snooze fest. You shouldn't bring time elements, like time warps, into like a movie that is semi-serious, and they shouldn't do it in games either because like they can't get it right.
Well, look what they did to Terminator.
It's endless possibilities, and you can't have endless possibilities. You need a framework to work in, and they kind of blew it wide open. And they also had the sky and the ocean thing, which those 2 themes are polar opposites. There's nothing else really there, like. Unless this one's just on Earth,
then it's just like, well, what makes it, I guess I already made my point here, but like, it's just exactly what you were saying. Like, you end up getting to the point, like, look at Terminator, like, you are just literally, like, the people who originally came up with that idea, are going back and remaking new movies, or not remaking, but making new ones, and retconning other shit. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Like, I'll play it, I'll buy it, I'll play it. I enjoy it. They've all been good. They've never let me down. Some people like to talk shit on the second one. I like to talk shit on Infinite, but, like, I bought it and still played it. At the end of the day, I still enjoyed the game. But I just feel like it's in a place where, it's a trilogy. Even if it's not chronological, it's in a good place. Leave it there, in my opinion.
Well, here's my take on the whole thing. I think we've had plenty of shows where we always complain about developers just like rushing out games and trying to make money and stuff. And I think to that point, by them saying that they've been developing the game since what, 2015, and it's
Mhm.
the end of 2019, so they've been working on it for over 4 years, and it's not going to come out for several more years. I think from that standpoint of like people putting more time into their games and making them more quality and like all those things we always preach about, I think you have to give them credits at least at the moment that they're taking their time and doing what they can to make sure it's a quality game. Like they're not just rushing it out to make money.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like there was another studio working on this originally, and it got rebooted and moved over to this newer studio, which kind of accumulates for that or makes it understandable for that time gap. But your point's still the same, Dave, and I think it's correct. It's just that they saw a problem with whatever was going on there, and instead of releasing something and forcing something, they
Right.
literally just moved it over. And there's
Right.
not many studios that would have taken the care.
Right. So for me, you have to give them credit for that, since especially because that's what we always preach about is like people just companies just rush out games to make their money, make their quick bucks. They leave bugs in, they leave all these quality of life things out, whatever.
Mm.
And it seems like here, like they're like, you know what, this isn't good enough right now. Let's take our time and figure it out and release a good product, even if it's going to cost us money in the end.
Yep, I agree. And didn't they leave out a bunch in Bioshock Infinite from like what was supposed to come upon release? Weren't there a bunch of trailers that showed like a different Elizabeth, like a more built out Elizabeth, and like more that you could do with the skyhook and things
I don't
that were
remember.
originally built in? I'm pretty sure that they took those out to push the game out on like ahead of schedule or on time.
I mean, there's a lot of that stuff in every game's development. It's just stuff that gets hacked. Like, remember watching the first Halo 2 trailer, and the brute jumps on the warthog and starts like individually slapping the Marines out of the warthog. Like, I never saw that in the game, but that was up front. But not to be a complete pessimist here and just a downer. I mean, look at Anthem and Destiny's track record. Like, those games had 5, 6, 7 year game development cycles, and the only, and I guess you could, David turn around and say, well, yeah, well, that's exactly what I'm saying is like, instead of resetting, building from the beginning again and taking the time, they just axed that time off and had a stagnant release date. They never adjusted a release date according to, like where they were at in the development process. It was just like, get it out. So let's hope that, that whatever happened when it jumped studios, they're taking their time. It's pretty much exactly what you're saying. They're not keeping some stagnant date that they need to have this game out by. Take your time, put it out when it needs to be out or is good enough to be out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, I thought Destiny. I don't want to get into it.